So welcome everybody to Straight Talk for Handmade Sellers. I'm Allie Thompson, and today we are going to talk about the Facebook boycott. So we're going to start out with that subject. It's been in the news. You've probably seen it going around even on Facebook. And you might be wondering, what exactly is this Facebook boycott? How does it affect my business? Is Facebook doomed? I've heard that question quite a bit. So we're going to talk about it today so that you get a clearer idea of what the boycott is and how it actually affects you. So what this particular Facebook, there have been many, first of all, there have been many Facebook boycotts over the years. And they come in different shapes and sizes and for different reasons. This particular Facebook boycott that is going on right now in the month of July is a boycott by advertisers. So some of you may not have heard about it because it isn't specifically for users of Facebook. It's not this particular boycott. Although some users may be taking this opportunity to boycott, most users are not actually involved in it. So the advertising boycott is what we're going through right now. And the idea is that Facebook has allowed some groups on Facebook to go unchecked, even when they know that there is even illegal activity happening in those groups. They just kind of let them go, and they're not policing the groups. They are not closing down the groups, and they keep saying, we're going to try to do better. So of course, you know, in the environment that we are in now, advertisers have stood up and said, we are not going to continue to support Facebook as a platform, at least for this month, in order to send a message that they need to do a better job. So there are a lot of very large advertisers that have signed on to this. And we're talking like the big companies, you know, big corporate America. Those are the companies, and some of the, I would say, small or like mid-size, large, mid-size corporations. Excuse me. And so there's a lot of confusion about where that leaves us, the little guy, right? So those of us that are not so much, you know, we're not making the millions and billions of dollars, but some of us may actually be advertising on Facebook and advertising our products, even if we're not paying for advertising. And we may kind of be wondering, like, where do I fit in the middle of this? What does that mean for me and my business? So first of all, the point of the boycott, again, is to send a message to Facebook, and Facebook doesn't seem to listen until it hits them in the pocketbook. The large advertisers are responsible for the vast majority of the income that Facebook gets. The little guys like you and I, you know, what we spend in advertising is a drop in the bucket. I mean, a drop in the ocean of Facebook's income. So whether or not we choose to boycott Facebook during this time, it's totally a personal decision. You can say, absolutely not, I have no reason to want to boycott them, or yes, I absolutely want to. The thing I want to caution you against is, if you do choose to boycott Facebook and you are currently running ads that are actually helping you support your business, it is not a good idea, especially in this economy, in this environment, and especially since we are the little guy, right? We're fighting and scraping for every single dollar that comes our way. And the fact that our boycott and the smaller end isn't really what the boycott's for. I would recommend against boycotting for the simple reason that we've got to eat. We have to eat. We have to make sales. And if Facebook ads right now are what is supporting your business, or at least helping to support your business, it could be a dangerous thing to do, to actually join in the boycott and damage your business. Now, again, it's everybody's personal choice, but you know, Coca-Cola is not going to starve if they don't do ads on Facebook. We might, you know what I mean? So just be sure that you're taking that into account if and when you choose to join in the boycott. Now, as far as users boycotting Facebook, There is not a lot of, there are not a lot of users that are boycotting Facebook right now. I've not seen that trend anywhere yet. Some posse members have mentioned that their reach has gone down. In some cases, it could be, look, when the news is very, very, when there's a lot of it, it tends to reduce the amount of space in somebody's newsfeed. So there's so much news happening. There's so many posts about the news, and Facebook does prioritize that stuff. It does prioritize news. There's less space in the person's Facebook news feed, and therefore we may get bumped from some places. It's just an algorithm thing. It ebbs and it flows. It comes and it goes. It's nothing to be overly concerned about. You know, I don't see, again, massive amounts of people leaving Facebook because of the boycott. Now, some people are turning away from Facebook because of how divisive it's been lately, and Facebook is a place where that is displayed like more than anywhere else in any other social media platform. So there are some people backing off from that. And there is usually also, and I think I forgot to mention this when I talked about this in Posse, a lot of times when people are on vacation, and we're in July, there are still people going on vacation. There's often a lull in the middle of the summer because people are off doing things, okay? So it's not really anything to be concerned about. I'm not concerned about it. Most of our Posse members, even if their reach is down, their sales are still good, their engagement is still good. So there's no reason to believe that anything that's going on with Facebook right now is directly affecting our business and our ability to do business on Facebook. Now, the other question that comes up is this it? Is Facebook doomed? Like, are people going to leave Facebook in the masses, and Facebook's just going to no longer be the place that we as business owners should be promoting our business? And with that, I say, no, that's not true. Facebook is not going down. Facebook is not going away. There are not other platforms that are better than Facebook. As far as, and it all depends on how you consider better. Every platform's a little bit different. So Instagram is different than Facebook. TikTok is different than Instagram. Twitter is different than TikTok. They're all different, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages. The reason why I teach Facebook is because they have the largest audience. They have the largest engaged audience. So there are millions upon millions of people in the United States on Facebook. By far more people on Facebook than Instagram, by far. So, and I love Instagram. I think Instagram's a great place to be when you're ready for it. But for the most part, everybody's on Facebook. Facebook gives you the option of doing text, video, images. It has the Facebook groups, which is really, I think, one of the smartest things Facebook did. It holds the platform together. Even people that teach Instagram, I was actually on an Instagram training where she taught Instagram in a Facebook group. You can go on Facebook and learn how to use other social media platforms, because Facebook created that platform for people to communicate easily with one another, basically forums, right in the Facebook platform. So the power behind Facebook and the amount of force that would be required in order to take Facebook down would be extraordinary. It would be absolutely extraordinary. And, you know, Google has tried to unseat Facebook. Every social media platform out there has tried to unseat Facebook. Instagram tried, and then Facebook bought them. Excuse me. So it is not likely that that Facebook's going to be replaced by Instagram anytime soon, that it's going to be replaced by TikTok, that it's going to be replaced by any of those things. Now, the other platforms are really good tools, and they're valuable in their own right. But here's the other thing you need to know about Facebook. Facebook is where your mom is, it's where your grandma is, it's where your aunts and uncles are, it's where the people you went to high school with are, it's where all of those social connections are made on a much deeper level than what is on Instagram. So Instagram, it's much more about having like this public persona, where on Facebook, we're actually connecting with our communities. If my entire family, so I have a very large family on my dad's side, if my entire family said, that's it, no more Facebook, or somebody decided no more Facebook group for the family, we're going to all go to Instagram, or we're all going to go to Twitter, like a small percentage of people would move. The rest of them would just not be involved in the discussion anymore. And so Facebook is where you go in order to reach the most people that are in your network, because that is where the most people are. That's not going away anytime soon. My mom is not switching to TikTok. That's the test, right? Think of the person that you think is the least technically savvy, but they use Facebook pretty often. They're not switching to Instagram. They're not switching to TikTok. They're not switching to any of those other platforms. And even the younger generation, as much as they don't like Facebook, a lot of them join Facebook in order to stay connected with their grandma and their aunts and uncles and even teachers at school. So they go on Facebook in order to stay connected and to use their messenger and to join groups. So my 16-year-old is on Instagram, does a great business on Instagram, but she's in several Facebook groups that help her run her business. And that's, you know, that's not going away. So no matter what's going on with the boycott, and again, the boycott really isn't anything that affects us. We're going to be okay. There's always going to be highs and lows, and Facebook, you know, I really hope they get their act together, because it is a serious issue that they just need to hire more people and spend more money to deal with. And they just seem to be kicking and screaming the whole way. So hopefully they get their act together, and we can all, you know, get back to normal. I mean, we're basically still in normal, but hopefully, you know, with the advertising and such, because even the advertisers that are boycotting, most of them are only boycotting through the month of July. They're back in August because they know that Facebook is the best place for them to make money. A few of them have committed to the end of the year, but very few are going past July. So that's the long and the short on Facebook, so that you have an idea about what's actually going on there. I've seen a couple of people say, oh, I've missed everything that you said. Just watch the replay. I'm not going to go over again. That's why we start at noon. So yeah, just watch the replay. But the point is, there's not really much to be worried about if you're seeing things about a boycott. We've had several posse members concerned about that, that they thought that maybe it was going to affect their business, or that it was reducing how many people are online, and it is not. Kelly said, my ideal customer uses Facebook exclusively. That is, so here's the thing. This is the other thing I hear brought up about Facebook in general. And for anybody that's on the Zoom call, if you have a question, if you want to do a face-to-face, I see there's a few of you on there. If you would like to come on and ask me a question or have a conversation about an issue that you're having, don't worry, I don't bite. I'm always try to be very helpful and give constructive feedback and help for you with whatever you're struggling with. What I need you to do is actually post your comment in the chat in Zoom. If anybody, and then I can call on you based on that, but I don't know who here actually wants to go on unless you post your question in the chat. For anybody else, if you're on Facebook watching this, if you have a question that you would like me to answer about Facebook, Instagram, websites, search engine optimization, you name it, how to deal with customers, anything and everything, pricing, we can talk about that today while I'm on here. So just post it in the comments. So what I was going to say about, what was I going to say? Oh, I've heard a lot of people say, I'm on Instagram or I'm moving to TikTok or whatever, because that's where the younger crowd is. And while the younger crowd does play a big role in pushing technology forward and pushing innovation forward, they are not the ones with money in their pockets. Okay. So some of you, your customer really is a younger crowd. So for my daughter, for the products that she makes, her customer is 18, 19, 20, all the way up to 30, 35 years old. Instagram makes more sense for her. And that's perfectly fine. That it's not a problem for her to be on Instagram. But for a lot of you guys, your customers, your ideal customer is somebody that has the money to spend. Somebody, you know, Kelly mentioned about her ideal customer being on exclusively on Facebook. Well, she sells wreaths that people hang on their door in their home. Younger people don't generally own their own home. They're not usually as concerned about, I want to decorate up the front, my front door. They're usually off to college or doing something like that. And so the people who have the time to think about it, the money to spend on beautifying their own home, they're on Facebook. They can be on Instagram too, but the vast majority of them are on Facebook. So don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't go running after the young crowd and the new hip thing that's going on, and you know, constantly looking for what's the new thing, what's the new thing, what's the new thing. Get really good at Facebook first. You know, I've talked to my posse members a lot about TikTok, and there are a lot of really great opportunities in TikTok. It is a younger crowd, but it's not all younger crowd, just like Instagram's not all younger crowd. But there's some interesting things that you can learn from being on TikTok. There are some interesting opportunities that you have on TikTok. But if you're only using TikTok and you haven't, if you're not successful on any other social media platform and you haven't learned how to talk to your customer and you haven't gotten comfortable with doing video and you haven't learned how to engage people, then just jumping into TikTok because it's new and bright and shiny is not what's going to get you to success. It's just a distraction at that point. And this is why I always come back to Facebook. If you can learn how to do your marketing on Facebook and actually start getting sales, building an audience, engaging that audience and making sales, which is what Posse members do, right? This is what we teach in Posse. How to build your audience, define your audience so that you can build an audience. Build your audience, engage them, build a relationship with them, and make sales. When you learn how to do that on Facebook, then transferring that skill over to Instagram or TikTok, and I'm not a big fan of Twitter I'm not saying you can't do well with a business on Twitter. I'm just not a big fan of doing business well on Twitter. There's so many mistakes you can make on Twitter that get you in a lot of trouble with the other users of Twitter. It's just not an environment I'm comfortable in. But Instagram and TikTok are fantastic, but you have to learn the skill first. You have to learn the skill of how to use social media to grow your business. Because if you don't learn that skill and you go chasing after whatever new social thing is the newest and the hottest, then you're never going to get any traction. You're never going to get any traction at all. Carrie says, yes, but you can't communicate back and forth on TikTok and Instagram. Well, you can. So Instagram has a live version. So there is something you can do live on Instagram. I don't think TikTok has a live yet, but my guess is they'll eventually have some sort of feature there. But they have advantages in other ways. So that's what I'm saying, that each one has its pluses and minuses. In my opinion, Facebook has way more pluses than it has minuses. There are some things that I would like to be discovered more easily on Facebook. Instagram and TikTok make that easier. But, you know, I can overcome that with other strategies. It's just, you know, have to do a little bit of extra work for that part. But they're all, none of them are, Twitter just, like I said, scares the pants off of me. Because one misstep on Twitter, Twitter has a culture. And if you don't fit into that culture, you can really hurt your business very badly and hurt your reputation.